Chapter 1: The Cold War Silence. Welcome to Synapse Daily. The year was 1963. The world lived in constant fear. Two superpowers faced off in the dark. The Atlantic Ocean became a silent battlefield. Nuclear submarines cruised the freezing depths. These massive ships carried world-ending power. Each vessel was a hidden, steel ghost. They moved through a world of shadows. Visibility underwater was exactly zero. Communication was nearly impossible for the crews. Radio waves cannot penetrate deep water. Sound was the only source of truth. But the ocean is never truly quiet. Nature creates a wall of constant noise. Tensions remained at a breaking point. One wrong move could trigger nuclear war. The sonar operators lived under extreme pressure. They listened to the abyss for hours. Could they hear an enemy approaching? Often, the ocean played cruel tricks. Thermal layers bent and distorted every sound. Whales sounded like distant engine propellers. Icebergs groaned like dying metal hulls. Survival depended on a single human ear. The margin for error was dangerously thin. The Pentagon needed a better solution. They needed eyes that never got tired. They needed ears that never felt fear. The search for a digital savior began. Deep beneath the waves, a revolution stirred. This was the start of the hunt. Silence was the only weapon they had. But silence was starting to fail them. Chapter 2: The DARPA Mandate. DARPA held a very radical vision. They wanted machines that could actually think. The military demanded a massive advantage. Human senses were simply reaching their limit. The ocean floor was too complex. Information flooded the sensors every second. Data was becoming a heavy burden. The early AI project was born here. It was a secret and ambitious plan. They targeted the specific sound of engines. Every propeller leaves a unique acoustic trail. It is like a mechanical fingerprint. Can a machine recognize the subtle beat? The government provided unlimited secret funding. Top scientists gathered in high-security labs. Their mission was absolute maritime dominance. They worked far away from public eyes. The project had no room for failure. They called it Project Artemis in whispers. The goal was a global listening grid. Digital brains would monitor the deep sea. They wanted to map every enemy move. Artificial intelligence was a brand new concept. Most people thought it was pure science fiction. But DARPA saw the future of war. Mathematics was the new frontline. Computers would soon replace human intuition. The mandate was clear and very bold. Find the enemy before they find us. The digital hunt was officially authorized. Chapter 3: 1960s Computing Power. Computers in 1963 were truly massive. One machine filled an entire large room. They hummed with immense electrical heat. Transistors were still a very new technology. Processing power was incredibly low by today. Memory was measured in tiny, expensive bits. Yet, the underlying math was revolutionary. Engineers built the first neural network models. They called these early systems perceptrons. Imagine a room-sized brain made of wire. Vacuum tubes flickered like dying stars. Could this iron box understand the sea? Researchers worked under heavy military guard. They wrote code in ancient, difficult languages. Every single line of code was vital. There was no software to help them. They built everything from the ground up. Magnetic tape spun for hours and hours. Punch cards held the secrets of detection. It was a world of slow calculations. But the logic was ahead of its time. The scientists pushed the hardware to limits. They fought against constant system crashes. Heat was the enemy of the silicon. Still, the digital mind began to form. It was a crude but focused intelligence. This was the birth of machine learning. The foundation of our modern world. A giant hummed in the dark lab. The machine was ready to learn. Chapter 4: The Sonar Puzzle. Sonar is the submarine's only eyes. Active pings bounce off cold steel hulls. Passive sonar listens to the environment. But the ocean is a chaotic place. Currents create a wall of white noise. Snapping shrimp sound like crackling fire. Telling a sub apart was legendary work. Operators trained for many grueling years. Their ears were highly tuned biological instruments. They could identify ships by sound alone. DARPA wanted to automate this human gift. They fed thousands of recordings into AI. The machine listened to the silent ghosts. Patterns slowly emerged from the static noise. It was a symphony of dark shadows. How does a machine define a sound? They converted noise into complex visual graphs. Mathematical thresholds were set very high. The digital ear began to twitch. It looked for the rhythm of pistons. Natural ocean sounds are rarely perfectly rhythmic. Nuclear engines leave a distinct harmonic trail. The algorithm chased the ghost of rhythm. The code became a secret, sharp weapon. Pure mathematics turned into a lethal tool. The machine filtered the shrimp and whales. It focused only on the metal intruders. The sonar puzzle was finally being solved. Logic was cutting through the deep mist. The era of the operator was changing. Chapter 5: Hidden Algorithms. The logic of 1963 was surprisingly advanced. Scientists used complex Bayesian probability models. They calculated the exact likelihood of targets. Every sound frequency received a numerical weight. This was truly the dawn of learning. The machine adjusted its own digital filters. It was a crude, but effective evolution. If event A happens, then check B. Thousands of if-then statements ran constantly. The software slowly mimicked human intuition. It looked for rhythmic, mechanical engine beats. Natural ocean sounds are rarely rhythmic. Whales do not sing in perfect cycles. But nuclear engines leave a mathematical trail. The algorithm chased that specific metal rhythm. Mathematics finally became a lethal military tool. The code was a very guarded secret. No one outside DARPA knew the logic. The computers calculated thousands of variables. They analyzed the Doppler shift of sounds. Is the target moving toward the sensor? Is the enemy diving into deeper water? The AI provided answers in mere seconds. Humans took minutes to reach same result. The gap between man and machine closed. Probability replaced the old, unguided guesswork. The silicon brain was always calculating. It never grew tired of the numbers. The hidden code began to dominate. Chapter 6: The First Trials. The first sea trials were incredibly grueling. Real-world data proved to be very difficult. The AI often saw many non-existent ghosts. It confused jagged rocks with Russian subs. Scientists faced immense, daily technical pressure. The Pentagon demanded results for their money. Where is the enemy? The generals asked. The computer stayed stubbornly, deathly silent. Calibration took hundreds of painful, long hours. Tension grew rapidly inside the dark labs. Was AI just an expensive pipe dream? Many naval experts doubted the entire project. They called the project expensive electronic alchemy. But the raw data showed hidden promise. Slowly, the machine started its true learning. The very first hit was finally recorded. A sensor picked up a distant vibration. The AI flagged it as a submarine. The operators checked the coordinates manually. The machine was exactly right that day. A quiet cheer filled the cramped room. The skeptics began to lower their guard. The technology was finally proving its worth. The ghosts were becoming real, solid targets. The first battle of bits was won. Chapter 7: Deep Sea Hardware. Putting computers on submarines was very hard. Submarines are always cramped, dark, and humid. delicate electronic components often failed quite quickly. Constant vibrations could ruin any fragile circuit. Engineers had to ruggedize every single part. The hardware eventually became heavy, thick armor. Cooling systems were critically important for success. Space was at a premium underwater. Every single inch belonged to a sailor. Now, a heavy computer claimed that space. The sailors were naturally very skeptical. They trusted their ears, not metal boxes. The black box arrived on deck anyway. It sat quietly in the sonar room. It waited for a secret, distant signal. The integration process was a quiet war. Cables ran through every narrow, steel corridor. The machine breathed the same recycled air. It hummed alongside the nuclear reactor. Engineers slept next to their cooling fans. They guarded the processors with their lives. The hardware was a masterpiece of engineering. It survived the crushing pressure of depths. The brain was now inside the whale. Chapter 8: The Human Element. Operators felt their long careers were safe. A machine cannot ever feel human intuition. A machine cannot sense a hidden danger. Or so the veteran sonar sailors thought. Man and machine began to compete daily. The operator heard a very faint hum. The computer flashed a bright red light. They both found the target almost simultaneously. Respect began to grow very, very slowly. The AI became a powerful, silent assistant. It filtered the useless background ocean noise. The human operator focused on the kill. It was a lethal, brand new partnership. Does silicon actually enhance human bravery? The data suggests it provides mental clarity. Trust was the very final, difficult frontier. Operators shared their coffee with the engineers. They started asking the machine for advice. "What do you hear, old box?" The AI answered with glowing green text. The fear of replacement turned into cooperation. The human ear and digital brain merged. They became a single, deadly hunting unit. The machine was no longer a stranger. It was now a member of the crew. Chapter 9: Technical Breakthroughs. By late 1963, true success finally arrived. The AI identified a distant, muffled hull. It calculated the target speed very accurately. It even guessed the depth almost perfectly. This was a massive, historic scientific leap. Pattern recognition was now a proven reality. The signal processing era officially began. The system outperformed tired, stressed humans. Machines do not need sleep or rest. They do not feel intense combat stress. They just calculate the cold, hard truth. The early AI proved its extreme worth. DARPA's massive gamble finally paid off. The silent service became much smarter. The vast ocean felt a bit smaller. The tactical edge was now purely digital. Engineers refined the signal-to-noise ratios. They discovered hidden harmonics in Soviet steel. The machine learned the sound of cavitation. Bubbles on a propeller have a signature. The AI tracked these bubbles with ease. It was like seeing through solid walls. The breakthrough changed naval warfare forever. Information was now the ultimate weapon. Chapter 10: Secret Operations. Most missions remain highly classified today. We know the AI successfully deployed. It tracked submarines across the Atlantic. It mapped every Soviet movement daily. The invisible net was finally working. Data was sent back to Washington, D.C. Strategic decisions changed based on AI. The White House watched the digital screens. "Can they see us?" world leaders asked. The AI answered with very high confidence. It was a quiet, shadow war. No shots were ever fired in anger. The victory was in the knowing. Information became the primary global currency. The AI was the master banker. Privacy died in the dark, cold deep. Patrols lasted for months in total secrecy. The machine logged every single acoustic event. It remembered every ghost in the water.
The Soviets never knew they were watched.
The digital eye followed them home.
Every harbor became a known data point.
The secret war was won by code. Chapter 11, The Legacy of 63.
This project changed everything for us forever. Modern sonar relies on this specific foundation.
Neural networks grew from these early roots. DARPA paved the way for modern GPT.
It started with a submarine's low hum.
We see its ghost in today's tech. Every sensor today uses these vital lessons. The math remains largely the same today. We just have many more hidden layers. The 1963 project was the original seed. It grew into a massive global brain. Was the cost worth the power gained? The military certainly thinks it was. Technology never moves backward for anyone.
The deep sea was the first cradle.
Intelligence is now the ultimate global weapon. We live in a world built by DARPA.
The silent machines are everywhere now. They listen to our voices and patterns.
The submarine AI was just the beginning.
It taught us how to filter chaos.
Now, the chaos is our daily life. Chapter 12, Ethical Echoes. Should machines decide who lives or dies? In 1963, it was just simple detection. Today, AI can trigger a lethal weapon.
The line is becoming very, very thin.
Does a computer really understand war?
It only understands the target input data.
The human heart is left out. DARPA started this very complex journey.
They sought safety through superior technology.
But superior tech brings massive new risks. What if the AI is fundamentally wrong? What if it hallucinates a nuclear threat? The 1963 scientists feared this outcome too. They kept a human in the loop. Will we always keep that vital loop?
The question haunts the entire modern age.
Logic is cold and lacks any mercy.
A machine does not fear the fallout.
We must balance power with deep wisdom. The ghost in the machine is growing. Who holds the leash of the AI?
The ocean remains a very dark mirror. It reflects our own fears back.
Chapter 13, Into the Future. The depths are still largely unknown.
But the machines see it all. From 1963 to the distant future.
Synapse daily explores these hidden paths. DARPA continues to push the limits. Nuclear subs are now AI-driven. The silence is filled with data. Thank you for joining our journey. Stay curious about the hidden world. History is written in secret code.
We are just the decoders here.
The deep sea is watching us.
The machines never stop listening.
Sleep well knowing the code works. See you in the next episode. Goodbye from Synapse Daily.